Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here, and welcome to the great DIY filter comparison. At the end of last year, the beginning of this year, I kept on intending to go through all the DIYs I'd done and, kind of give me my pros and cons and sort of pick which ones work for me, which ones don't. And, well, I got kind of busy and, well, nothing ever got done. And seeing how I pretty much have only time in abundance at the moment, I thought I would do this slightly differently. And that is, I'm going to go through all the filters that I've done, but I'm going to rate them according to what I think as far as their biological activity, their mechanical ability, nuisance stuff like how hard is it to clean, and then there will be like, is it durable? Is it going to have issues with wear and tear, that sort of stuff? And then the final category I'm going to have is its commercial viability. Not so much from me making and selling these things, but can I use it in a client's setup? Will they appreciate the looks of it, and or all that sort of stuff. So I thought I would start with the two filters that you guys had the most input with, and that is the two You Decide builds. The first one obviously is this one here, the rolling drum filter, and the other one's going to be the planter filter that we ended up making together. Now I'm going to go through all those criteria for each of them, and then in the end though, you guys are going to decide which one you like the most, which one you think is the best of the two filters. And then that filter is going to move on to the next level, which is I'll pick another filter and then it'll be compared to that one, and we'll keep going until we have a final filter. Well, unfortunately, some of the filters that I built I don't have access to because, all the clients close downs and that sort of stuff. But at least the ones I can film, we'll pick a winner. And that'll be the best DIY build that I've done up to date. All right, so that's enough of me rambling. Let's get on to this. The first filter, obviously, is this rolling drum filter. And the first criteria for it's going to be its biological filtration capacity. And, well, it's got two massive sponges on it. I'm going to rate them from 1 to 10, 1 being completely useless or next to useless, and 10 being probably the best I can probably get out of a filter. And as far as biological filtration goes, just one of these drums is more than adequate for an aquarium. I'm not going to start throwing out 10s right away because then this is really kind of dumb. So this one's going to be kind of a benchmark, and I'm going to give it an 8. The next criteria is going to be its mechanical filtration capacity. Now it does have the nice tray at the bottom and a pad, and a lot of water goes through it, and it is actually a really good mechanical filter. This is going to be the benchmark, so I know it's not the best it can be. I know there are other filters that have better mechanical capabilities, but I want to, like I said, set a number here, so we're going to call this a 6, as it is a good mechanical filter, but it's not the best, obviously, so we'll start with that. Now after that, we're going to get into the cleaning aspect of it. How hard is this to clean? It's a relatively new filter. I don't see any wear and tear on any of the parts yet. It does kind of have a bit of track moving and as far as staying on the axles, and I do have to adjust it from time to time, but it really isn't that labor intensive. At some point, I will have to clean one or both of those sponges. It seems to be going quite well, so this might be a long time down the road. But I'm going to say, as far as ease of cleaning, I'm going to put this one right in the middle, simply because there are a lot of moving parts here, and I just don't want to, like I said, again, this is like a benchmark. I don't want it to end up overruling everything that's going to happen in the future for other stuff, so we're going to call this a straight 5. Now, as far as commercial viability goes, can I put this on a client's aquarium? And then I think for this particular case, this filter is probably going to get a rather bad score. There's nothing really wrong with it. It has good durability. It doesn't need to be cleaned often, and mostly it's just for the fact that it is rather intrusive. So clients aren't going to want it unless, of course, there's young kids involved and they like to see that sort of stuff. So we're going to give this one a really low score for that. And I'm going to call it, well, it's not the worst, so I'm going to give it a 3. So that would be the first filter. That is the rolling drum filter, rated on all the criteria. And let's now move on to the second one. And here it is. It is a hob. It's the first filter that we built together. It's run by a pump. It has a really good plate at the bottom, so it gets good flow across the bottom. And of course it's filled with lava rock and gravel. And of course it's planted. So as a biological filter, it is actually quite good. Now, is it as good as 2 massive sponges rolling around in a wet-dry capacity? I'd have to say probably not, but that's just my opinion. There's no real way of testing this without putting each of those onto a heavily stocked aquarium and then doing a side-by-side, which I don't think I'm going to have the time for right now. Maybe we'll do that later on if there is an interest, of course. So I would give this slightly less than the other one, but that's only because I have to give it a number. I'm going to call it a 7. But it is a good filter. You can see how well the plants are growing here. The aluminum plant is sending out, I think, 3 or 4 new plants already. And the water obviously comes out nice and clean. And I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. As far as mechanical filtration goes, there's no pre-filter on this. I could put one obviously on the pump. It's not necessary. I like actually the flow, and I don't mind a bit of particulate going through the filter. It is, for all intents and purposes, a reverse flow and a gravel filter that's in a hob. So it does have some mechanical filtration. And of course, all those roots, especially as they grow more, are going to end up filling that up quite a bit and supplying a little bit more mechanical filtration. But it is not a mechanical filter. It's not meant that. It is meant as a biological filter. And so in that aspect, because I gave the last one a 6, and it is actually has mechanical capabilities, I'm going to give this one a 4 because it is definitely less than the other one. And that's the only reason for doing that. As far as cleaning goes, this filter won't need to be cleaned for a very long time. It will flow like this. It will keep flowing like this. It may end up forming some channels, like if you know what channeling is, water will end up bypassing some of the filter and end up going through it, but not everywhere. And that may happen. If that does happen, I'll have to clean it. But that's not going to be for quite some time. So as far as wear and tear and cleaning on this, it has to get a really high score because, I mean, I gave the other one a 5 simply because of all the moving parts and everything. But there aren't any in this. There's literally nothing that needs to be done for this filter to keep on working. So because at some point in time when it does need to be cleaned, it actually has to be completely taken apart and then replanted and washed and everything else. And that's, obviously going to be a nuisance. I'm not going to give it top marks. I'm going to give it an 8, which is, I think, pretty good for this. And then all that's left really is how is this filter for a commercial, for a client? And again, there's actually really nothing wrong with it as far as that goes. Any place that could take a hob in the first place will like this. The only downside is it does need some light above the aquarium. So a window or that sort of thing would be really cool. But it does also, of course, supply a certain aesthetic outside the tank, which is really kind of nice too. So this is actually going to get a much better score than the last one as far as like that sort of thing goes. And just again, because these are my original benchmarks for future builds and stuff that are as far as scoring goes, I'm not going to give it, top marks. So I'd say this filter is probably an 8 for commercial viability because it's very reliable and again doesn't really need to be cleaned that often. So there you have it, the first 2 filters. The rolling drum filter ended up with a score of 22, and that's just obviously my opinion. And this one here ended up with a score of 27, so from my perspective this is better, but then again, I mean, you guys are going to decide. So what I want you to do in the comments below, please, let me know which filter you like the most, and that is all I need to know. And I will go on once I have enough numbers for people making decisions on this, at least like a clear cut one way or another. I will take the winner from that, and I'll pick another filter to compare it to. And if you guys have a preference for what's up next, definitely let me know that as well in the comments. And as always, if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.